Polaris Bank, Mr. Innocent CEK, to give his charge and formally welcome us all. MD, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yes, good morning, can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Innocent Ike. That's the same way Adebimpe introduced me. I'm the MD CEO of Polaris Bank. First is to say I'm glad that we're all gathered here today, and this event is taking place, virtually. And I also want to welcome all the members of the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, who are our key partners, for this event. And I would like to thank all the president and all the members who have worked tirelessly to ensure, with us, to ensure this event, takes place, as well as all the key facilitators, particularly the technical people. We are bankers, and we cannot claim to be experts or to even have in-depth knowledge of the industry. So I would like to thank all those who have made it possible up front and say welcome to this seminar. Dibe has said it's a charge. I don't know whether it's a charge, but it's just a welcome comment as it is well. So first is to say that it is a great pleasure for me to welcome everyone, on this call. I know we have business owners, members of the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, customers, and of course, consumers of pharmaceutical products. Our dear customers, customers of Polaris Bank, various professionals, and of course, I have my colleagues here. I also know we have people from the, from the press. So I'm glad to welcome all of us to Polaris Bank, Health Sector Seminar 2.0. This is actually the second time we are organizing this together with the Association of Community Pharmacists. So once again, I'd like to say thank you for making that happen. One will wonder exactly what is this all about, and what does it mean for Polaris Bank? Now, for us, the world has changed, so much, particularly in the last 2 years with the advent of of COVID. We can today sit and thank God that if we haven't seen the end of COVID, we have seen a significant reduction at the infection rate, and thank God there are also medications of which members of the pharmaceutical group have, of course, helped to put in place. So for this seminar is essentially for us to, to create an opportunity to again look at what has happened, in the pharmaceutical industry over the past, 2 years or over a year ago since we last had the last, engagement, and one will agree with me that a lot has changed, both in the industry in terms of, the drugs available, in terms of how these drugs are administered, in terms of also the changes in the larger macroeconomic environment, and how this has affected the business, it's both the profession and the practice and the business itself. So at the end of the session, we would explore, in the course of the session, we would exchange ideas, share experience, knowledge, in terms of what has happened, what has changed, what hasn't changed, what is still functional today, and what will be functional in the future. Given changes in consumer behavior, consumer trends, given changes in technology, given changes in the way we conducted this profession or this trade in the past, what exactly is our situation as a country? What exactly must we do if we must position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities presented, to this industry, in the future. And why are we doing this? We are doing this, like I said, with the pharmacists, because of our belief in enabling our customers, our clients' enterprise. Because of our belief in sustainability, we do know for sure that you cannot talk about a functional and prosperous society if the health of the citizens or the health of the people or the health of that factor of production, which is labor, cannot be guaranteed or is not, or is not sustained. So because we believe in ensuring sustainability, which we cannot talk about without the health of the populace, of which is the labor force, and also capacity building, we thought it was important for us to come back again and say, look, what exactly have we been doing, and in what way can we continue to remain relevant? In what way do we ensure that those of us who are in this business, either as in the practice or as a business, that we have indeed prepared for tomorrow? 2 years ago, we never knew, as we were speaking, we never knew that that tomorrow that we used to think about will come so fast, but it indeed came. And I want to also use the opportunity to acknowledge members of this body for their resilience and, for the innovative ways they were able to support us and the entire country during that, at the peak of the pandemic. We do know. I think all of us here must have, in one way or the other, had our individual experiences or what happened during that time. We couldn't find drugs. We couldn't find we couldn't even find the people, the requisite experts or people who could be able to, even explain to people or, help us respond to the pandemic as it were. So as a responsible financial institution, like I said, we recognize that, the role of good health in driving a prosperous and functional economy. And that is the main reason why we are here today. And we hope that this workshop will bring together various key players and actors in the industry to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and as well as enhance our understanding of the key and emerging trends in the industry. Whereas in terms of the new ways of dispensing medication, or in terms of the new ways of retailing or driving penetration, or even in terms of technology, the technology available to us to ensure that we are more efficient in what we do and we're more profitable. Because it's only if we guarantee the profitability of the players, the businesses, okay, the retail chains and the entire value chain, that we can be sure that this industry will be there for us in future, because this industry is very important and we must continue to ensure that it is run efficiently. It is run in the best, with the best in terms of skills, knowledge, understanding, and in terms of technology. Whereas we come in as bankers in terms of providing funding, to ensure that this business is run on a very sustainable manner. There is a study by Lagos Business School, which puts, which says this industry has a very huge potential, and it has estimated about $4 billion. The truth is that one is not surprised given our population, the size of this market. But one thing is clear: as an industry, we need to understand how to overcome the challenges, okay, that today limits our potentials and our ability to accelerate and achieve that growth potential that is available for us. There is profit. The market is big, so clearly we have enormous opportunities to make money, to remain profitable. But in doing that, our sustainability is very key, and we need to know exactly what we must do and what we must not do to ensure that we do this business in a very, very professional and sustainable manner. So the webinar, we believe, okay, will look at. We have drawn facilitators from across the industry ecosystem. So there are experts, people who may bring in some technical know-how and technical knowledge. We have people who are in the business of pharmacy, who, of course, it will be key for them to understand what they must do, or what kind of, how to run their business, arrange themselves in such a way that they will be able to attract funding. They will be able to, work with banks better, work with suppliers and other parties in the value chain in such a way that their business, one, there is some form of comfort, if you like, or trust in each other, that yes, we are actors and we are parties in this ecosystem, and we'll do business together and we'll support each other, because that trust is very important to attract funding and also to attract the support and confidence of various actors. I'm not about to start telling us what we should do or what we shouldn't do, but it's key for us to understand that trust is very important, particularly when you are dealing with financial institutions, particularly when you want to attract funding, even if from friends and families. So this is not from, I'm not talking about banks. You must be able to build your business on a very, very, a very transparent and open basis that engenders trust, so that people can be able to, trust that if the supplier you're giving goods on credit, that you sell those goods, you pay them back when you should pay, or if you borrow from a bank or even from family and friends, that you do what? You will let them know the true state of affairs. And if the business is going through difficulties or challenges, you let them know that there are challenges that that we maybe need some time to resolve and be able to pay back the money. So it is one area I don't want to conclude my opening remarks without emphasizing. On that note, I would like again to challenge all of us and invite all of us to have a very, very warm and open discussion. It's an opportunity for all of us to look at what has happened in the past 2 years. Thank God that we are alive. And again, say, look, what do we need to do more to enhance our businesses, grow our businesses, make them more profitable, make our businesses more sustainable, and grow a larger and more, healthier Nigerian economy. For us as a bank, we're a bank. We focus on supporting the SMEs. We pay a lot of attention to capacity building. So we believe that this is an opportunity for us to enhance, for us to support the various SMEs or business owners here, as well as the professionals who are interested in seeing how the fortunes of their business could be improved or grown, and as well as how the capacity to drive these businesses could be enhanced. I would like to thank all of us and wish all of us a very successful session, and hope that we'll leave here at the end of the day fulfilled. Thank you very much, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, MD, for that succinct and yet clear welcome speech. It actually helps us to set a good start to commence the webinar. We also would like to sincerely say thank you for your support always to ensure that we truly provide support for players in this sector. Thank you, MD. So having said that, I would like to bring on board the moderator for this webinar, Dr. Itunu Akinware. She is the MD for Medbury Medical Services, a very good friend of the house. So Dr. Itunu, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Adebimpe. I'm very grateful to be here. It's a privilege to be here. Hello to all my colleagues, for all those in the pharmaceutical industry and out of the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you very much, Mr. Innocent Ike, for that great introduction and start to this program. I just want to say that when I was asked to moderate this program, I was very excited about it because I know the kind of opportunities that exist within the pharmaceutical industry. They are amazing, and just the opportunity to learn more about that industry value chain got me extremely excited. Today, I know that we have a very full house. We have people from all over the country and even outside of the country joining us today. We have in the audience people within the industry, the pharmaceutical industry, from the manufacturers to retail, industrial pharmacists, the distributors. We also have investors here. We have quite a mixed house. And what I can promise you is that with the facilitators that we have today, I can promise you that there's going to be something for everybody. We have, as I mentioned, we have some really interesting experts that are going to be sharing a lot with us today. And they essentially are going to be taking us on a journey, right? As I've mentioned, we have a full house with a lot of people in there. So we're going to be taking a general overview to the webinar today. We have about 6-7 speakers who would really start, first of all, by laying a foundation on the outlook of the pharmaceutical industry. As you all know, there's a lot happening in Nigeria and the world today. So we are going to be putting that into context, and we're going to be trying to see how it affects our business and what we can do to get the gains from that and reduce some of the problems or challenges that we have within our environment. After that, we're going to be moving on to speak about the value chain opportunities. Again, as I said, we're going on a journey. We're going to be talking about the value chain opportunities. What are the things that we can do right now? What are the things that we're doing? What are the things that are going to be available in the future for us to be able to do within the pharma industry? And then we'll take some practical examples, how we can use technology to improve our businesses, the opportunities within technology, as well as, most importantly, as I must say, the opportunities for how we can leverage finance within our businesses and within the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to be touching on all these things today with all these amazing speakers that we have. And then we are then going to be going to a very interesting part of this webinar, which is to really say, okay, all the things we're going to have heard today, like the talking about the opportunities, talking about the challenges. What do we need to do to be able to get the most of these opportunities? So we have a very well-known speaker here that is going to be talking about how we are going to be repositioning our businesses and the things we need to do to attract finance, to improve technology, and get the best of what it is that we have. And then last but not the least, we have Polaris Bank that is going to be sharing with us some of the great things that they are doing. And again, I cannot thank Polaris Bank enough for providing support to the healthcare industry, and specifically to the pharmaceutical industry. They have done a lot. Till date, they've disbursed over loans worth over 40 billion naira to the pharmaceutical industry alone, and they are keen to even do much more. And they want to be able to share with us the products and the services that they have and the things that they can help us do to even help us to access finance. So I'm not going to say more than that because, the speakers have a lot to share with us today. I'm just going to say that just to lay some ground rules, please, if you have any questions or comments, we have the chat box. Kindly put in your questions and comments there. When we are done with the presentations, we are going to then focus for some minutes on questions and comments. As much as possible, we want it to be interactive. So please, whatever questions you have, kindly drop it in the chat box and we will come to it when we get to that session. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on board our first speaker. And there's no better person to start off to us today than our very able chairman, the chairman of the Association of Clinical Pharmacists.
Community pharmacists.
Community pharmacists. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Association of Pharmacists of Nigeria, our very own pharmacist, Adewale Oladigbolu. He has played a very active role within the association as well as within the PSN and even in so many things within the pharmaceutical industry. So please help me welcome pharmacist Adewale Oladigbolu, who is going to be sharing with us on the outlook of the pharmaceutical business in Nigeria. You are very welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Itino. I appreciate you a lot. I will try to share my screen now and hopefully we'll be able to get on with the presentation. Thank you, Dr. Itino. Thank you. All right. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, you can see my screen now. So thank you so much, Dr. Itino. Thank you, MD of Polaris Bank. And loads of thanks to all the management teams of Polaris Bank for what you are doing for community pharmacists in Nigeria. We can't thank you enough. You are reinventing our industry. You are putting funds into our hands, and our industry is growing at tremendous rate. Like Oliver Twist, we always ask for more. So this morning, I'll be talking about the general outlook for pharmacy in Nigeria. Once again, my name is Wale Oladigbolu, Fellow of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Most of the time when we talk about pharmacy, we talk about the practice and then we talk about the business. But a lot of people want us to keep quiet about the business and focus on the practice. Whereas some people, all they want is the business side of pharmacy and they don't care what the practice is all about. So the first question I'll be putting out to my members this morning is pharmacy a business, a practice, or both of them linked together? And which one should come before the other? So I put it to you, which one should come before the other? So kindly go to the chat room now and then put your preference there as we go along with this presentation. So my outline is just as simple as you have seen it. I will take a look at the global economic outlook. I will look at the Nigeria economic outlook. We'll look at basic determinants of business and service growth, and then we attempt a personal analysis for the pharmaceutical services in Nigeria. Okay, so global economic outlook, what does it look like? We all know what COVID-19 has done to the economy all over the world. We know that for this year, the prediction is that there will be growth, there will be recovery, but it's going to be slower than normal. And nothing speaks to this more, the energy crisis that the world is currently experiencing as a result of the war in Ukraine. There's fast markdown in the two largest economies. I'm talking about US and China. Then the global growth rate expectation for 2022 is put at 4.4% by the World Economic Outlook, and it was 5.5% in 2021. So indeed, we can see that there will be recovery, but the recovery will be slower than expected. So what does the Nigeria economy look like? Projected GDP growth is 2.7%. The banking sector can do this better than me. The population of Nigeria is 216.74 million. So that's a very huge opportunity for the pharmaceutical industry. With one product, you are speaking to about 216 million people in Nigeria. That is a very big opportunity. Inflation rate is projected to be at 13.3% for 2022, but right now we are at 15.7%, no thanks to the war in Ukraine and the energy crisis. So we don't know where it will end, but we hope that it's going to get better as the world put a pay to the war in Ukraine. Okay, so we go to global outlook for the pharmaceutical sector generally. In 2020, the pharmaceutical sector is valued at $1.27 trillion. And we are expecting that more new molecules will be pushed out. And this is because of lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic, that we see a lot of rollout of molecules. We saw a lot of rollout of molecules at a very rapid pace. There is increased technology will mean that more drug will be discovered. Better technology will speak to the manufacturing sector, and it will also speak to the distribution sector of our industry. We also expect that there will be more spending on research and development. This is because the world has learned a very big lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that we have to be prepared for future emergency. We know that there is no wealth without. So the world, we believe that investors will be putting more money for R&D. Companies will be putting more money for R&D. Okay, so as pharmacists, most of the time we talk of mortar and pestle. That's the instrument of our trade, that's the symbol of our practice. That's what enables us to make very good medicine for you from the laboratory. But this morning, we're just going to be looking at the pestle analysis for the Nigeria pharmaceutical sector. So the first P stands for politics and policies. And so we have said of politics and policies and the pharma industry. By 2023, there will be election in Nigeria. And we all know that there is a macroeconomic implication of this. We saw what happened. Where in the last transition where the economy was slowed down tremendously. The outlook is that for 2023, there is going to be, unless we have learned a big lesson from our transition in the previous year, that this one can now run smoothly and there will be less macroeconomic implication. Of course, our industry is regulated by an act of the National Assembly. That is I can't really calculate how many years old now. The Poison and Pharmacy Act was enacted in 1947. So over the years, pharmacists as professional bodies, as individuals, we have been expectant that the pharmacy bill will be signed into law, and this will put a new direction to our industry. We are still expecting that this current National Assembly will be able to speak to that, and there will be a new direction in our industry. So investors, banks, and indeed practitioners should remain calm and focus on the emergence of that pharmacy bill, because it's going to set a new direction for our industry. Okay, another thing that has to do with politics and policy is the fact that pharmacy is under the exclusive legislative control of the National Assembly. And again, this will be my second question. Is this one good for us, or is this something that we need to tinker with? Is this something that we need to pull down some of them in such a way that some states can regulate certain aspects of pharmacy practice, and some states, few states out of the 36 states can get it right, and then for others to copy. So to you, my colleagues, I said, this is worthy of looking at. We need to look at it and see whether it's something that we need to speak to, because definitely this will affect our industry. National health insurance coverage is very poor. And this is because of the policies of the federal government. The coverage is less than 5% in Nigeria. That means a lot of out-of-pocket spending is still taking place in Nigeria. With national health insurance system, our industry will be streamlined and funding will be easier to attract, and the industry will grow tremendously if we can have more coverage and if we can have prescription fulfillment in the community pharmacies in Nigeria. Right now, there is a next to zero prescription fulfillment in community pharmacy in Nigeria. Another policy of federal government that needs to change is the way we distribute drugs in Nigeria. I doubt whether there's any other country in the world that has such a chaotic drug distribution system. So, and this requires enough political will from the federal government to reorganize this drug distribution system. One other thing that will speak to this particularly is technology, as we will later see in my presentation. But federal government needs to muster enough political courage to be able to reorder the drug distribution system in Nigeria so that the industry become well regulated and the stigmatization that the industry suffers now can now be reduced. All right, still of politics and policies of federal government that has impact on the pharma industry. Just about 2 weeks ago, we finished the drafting, the review of the national policy on tax shifting and tax sharing of the federal government of Nigeria. This we see a lot of programs coming to community pharmacy, especially when it comes to vaccination, when it comes to point of care testing, and this is going to impact on our industry because it's going to bring more revenue into the average community pharmacy in Nigeria. The federal government is also currently reviewing the self-care policy. It is our hope that the self-care policy, the review document will be published in this April. This will empower more people to take care of their health. It will put the decision in their hands to make. And we all know that information technology is breaking down their barriers. People are becoming more aware of their health. And so the federal government is going to cede some kind of responsibility to individuals to be able to take care of their health. Another thing that affects the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria is the tax policy. You can imagine that there is import duty on raw materials and there's no import duty on finished pharmaceuticals in Nigeria. This is another thing that is affecting our industry. It's affecting local production of medicines, and professional associations. We need to put pressure on government to remove the import duties on API, active pharmaceutical ingredients. One other federal government policy that is favorably disposed to the growth of our industry is the fact that in December 2021, vaccination process can now take place in community pharmacy. A number of pharmacies in Nigeria have been approved as a vaccination center. This will bring more resources to our industry. Okay, so let's look at the economic situation and the pharma industry. Of course, it's not all bad issues with Nigeria. Nigeria is Africa's largest economy. We are the most populated country in Africa, and we are the biggest consumer market. And like Mr. Inos, the MD of Polaris Bank, rightly said, we have potential for up to $4 billion in the pharmaceutical sector of of Nigeria is worth about $4 billion. We have that potential to grow to $4 billion. It is interesting that more than 70% of value addition will come from direct to consumer pharmacy. These direct to consumer pharmacy are currently fragmented, and we only have a very few chain operators. So the market is still very large there for chain operators to come in. There is a underfunding of the health sector. So we need more funds coming from the federal government to the health sector. The number of beds to 1,000 people in Nigeria is 0.9 beds to 1,000 people. The global average is 2.3. And it becomes more interesting when you consider the number of beds available for intensive care. In Nigeria is 0.07, and in Kenya, it is 0.3. I think this is not good enough. So federal government, we need to prioritize the health of our people by putting more funds into the health sector and invariably into the pharmaceutical sector. Part of the economic situation that affects our industry is the cost of fund. The cost of fund is high in Nigeria. I know that some banks are offering 18%, and I know that we can do a lot better. So we use the opportunity to call on Polaris Bank to please just strive as much as possible for us to make sure that the cost of fund for this industry is reduced. 5,000 patients every month seek healthcare services abroad. Every month, 5,000 patients seek healthcare services abroad. This is also a huge opportunity for us. It also means that we have potential to grow. Out of pocket spending, like I rightly said before, in Nigeria, is about 70% people spend out of their pocket. There is no insurance coverage for a lot of Nigerians. In South Africa, out of pocket spending is just about 7%. So that means there is also a very big opportunity for us to grow. There is inadequate attention of the federal government of Nigeria on private for-profit health facilities, which community pharmacy and a number of pharmacy belongs to. So we need to prioritize it because private for-profit health facilities can offer a lot of leverage for the healthcare system in Nigeria. We need to also examine the social and cultural context of the pharma industry. Over 80% of health needs of our people are fulfilled in private sector. So that is a huge opportunity for us. There is a big opportunity for growth. In Nigeria, we have less than 20,000 pharmacies in active practice to a population of over 200 million. And 80% healthcare needs of the people are being fulfilled in private sector. So that's a very big opportunity for the Nigeria pharma industry to grow. Community pharmacies are frequently the first point of call for health needs. So out of this 80% of people who go to private health pharmacies, majority of them patronizes community pharmacy. Technology is improving self-care, so many more people are being aware of their health needs and they are taking their health seeking behavior to community pharmacies. Technology is also improving access to medicines. IT will drive the movement of many prescription medicines from being prescription medicine to OTC medicine. And again, Nigeria has a very huge reservoir of herbal medicine. So pharmacies from the industry to wholesale to retail pharmacy can tap into this rather importing herbal medicine from China and other countries. Nigeria has over 1,000 clinically proven herbal agents that could be developed into medicaments safe and effective for people's use. So that's also a very huge opportunity. Let's look at the technological adaptability and the pharmaceutical care, pharmacy space in Nigeria. Tech is breaking barrier and improving access to medicines. We have seen that a lot of apps in Nigerian market that is driving access to medicines. And that also shows that the industry has potential for growth. There is improvement in telemedicine. We make it easy for us to uptake, to increase the uptake of pharmaceuticals. Supply chain modulation through technology will improve pharmacy business in Nigeria. An example is the pharmacy to pharmacy supply chain platform that ACPN is building. A number of apps, like I said before, the Procure My Medicine and other similar apps are bringing in funds even from abroad to Nigeria. If for diaspora care, I know that people who are based abroad who want to fulfill any needs for their people at home in Nigeria pay directly to community pharmacy, and then the community pharmacy supply the medicines to them. There is also improved documentation that will also help us to be able to size up the industry as against the figures that are being given to us. When we have improved documentation, we can then for sure determine the size of the pharma industry. Okay, so legal and regulatory forces that impact on our environmental practice, you all know NAFDAC, PCN, FCCPC, NDLEA, they are there for good. However, they can do better in terms of regulation. I've spoken about the exclusive legislative control by National Assembly. The pharmacy bill, I've spoken about it. And then, of course, our industry also suffer from a challenge through parallel importation. But one of the most important things that needs to happen in our industry is that right now, Polaris Bank and other financial institutions are supporting production of medicines in Nigeria. They are supporting distribution, and they are also supporting direct-to-consumer pharmacies in a number of ways. But we also need to support those who are interested in the production of active pharmaceutical ingredients. That is the way to go. That is what can even generate resources for Nigeria, because this API could be exported to other African countries. Right now, there is no API production facility in Nigeria. Okay, so I'm concluding now, Dr. Ituno. Technological development and regulatory efforts are the enablers that will get the pharma industry to the ceiling of its growth. There is huge opportunity for the pharma industry. Technology is helping us, and we want improved regulatory atmosphere. We want to be able to access funding in single digits so that we can spruce, we can jump, we can leapfrog. And in conclusion, I say the future of health is pharmacy. And if you agree with me that health is wealth, then wealth is pharmacy. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for that, Pharmacist Adewale Oladibolu. I know that if this was an open forum and not online, we all would have given you a standing ovation for that. You've said you've been spot on so many things. You've spoken about the some challenges, but you've also spoken about some of those opportunities, and we're going to be speaking a bit more about that with our next speaker. Thank you very much, Pharmacist Adewale. Now, moving on to the next speaker. I know you all have questions. Please, I can see that there are some really interesting questions in the Q&A chat box. Please keep your questions coming, and we are going to get to them. So we're going to go to the next speaker now, none other than Pharmacist Ken Onwegu. Pharmacist Ken Onwegu is the national chairman of the Association of Industrial Pharmacists. He's also the managing director of TriCare Pharma Nigeria Limited. You are very welcome, sir. Today he's going to be speaking to us about the value chain opportunities within the pharmaceutical industry and how we can use financing, how we can use finance to unlock some of those opportunities. You are very welcome, sir. Please let's set him up. Set him.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, sir, we cannot see you very well. I think you might need to adjust your...
Okay, Can you see me very well now?
Yes, much better, sir. You're welcome, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm trying to share my screen now. Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir. We are here, sir. We can hear you. Please go on. We can also see the screen now. Please go on, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to talk today. I'm actually going to talk on value chain opportunity in pharmaceutical business and the role of finance. My name, once again, is Ken Onwegu. I'm the national chairman of NAI. So, okay. First of all, what is value chain? Value chain, we understand it to be the full set of activities that occurs between the point when a medicine is manufactured and shipped from a production or import facility unit until the time it is received by a patient in the course of their medical care and treatment. Every set of activity that goes on from the point of manufacture to the point where the patient receives it is what we are looking today as a value chain. At each step, if we understand the entire process, we are going to realize that there are some basic values created. And of course, cost component that is attached at the different stages of this value chain. And that's what we are going to look at today. Permit me to run fast so that I can beat up my time. Now, there are three major components of pharmaceutical value chain. Three major components. One is the manufacturing of the medicine itself. In order to produce a medicine, we all know that a lot of steps are taken into consideration, from research and development phase to gaining regulatory approval, which allows the medicine to be sold in the market, to the final commercialization process. For a typical company, you have to start by R&D, identify what you want to produce. When you have done that, the next step is to approach NAFDAC to make sure that you also gain the necessary regulatory approval to manufacture or to import. And after that is done, the commercialization process. So this is the first major value chain step we are going to look at today. The second one is, of course, distribution to the dispensing points. Once you have produced, you have to take it to the point that is needed. And this includes the transportation and handling of the medicine from the manufacturer to the end user, whether this is a retail pharmacy shop, hospital, or dispensing doctor. The complexity of this journey honestly requires a lot of process. For us in importation, actually the real battle begins after the manufacturer has produced in your plant, assuming the product is manufactured in India or Pakistan or Europe or America or manufactured here. A whole gamut of activities takes place, moving those products from the point of manufacture to the point where it is actually needed. That's the third, and of course, another important aspect of the value chain is dispensing to the end user. And that's where my friend, the national chairman of Association of Community Pharmacists, Wale, comes in too. Providing the correct medicine dosage and form to the right patients in a very convenient and timely manner is the final step in the value chain reaction. This step can also involve a number of additional activities, including you have to check for potential interaction, drug advice, side effect profile, and in case for countries who are running an insurance reimbursement claim. Each of these steps is intended to ensure that the patient we are handling today gets the best optimal benefit and value from the medicine they receive. Very, very important. So these are the three major activities of the value chain. Now, for all these steps involved, there are costs and there are values added in each of these three steps we have looked at today. There are two categories of manufacturing required for drug production, at least for the interest of our viewers today. For active pharmaceutical ingredient, API manufacturers who produce the raw material, that's the first step. API, every product that is actually manufactured, you have to start with the manufacturing of the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, which produce the raw ingredient used in medicine. And then after that, the finished form manufacturers produce the final product to the market. The finished form manufacturers can also be categorized as what? We have those who are innovative generators. Innovators are companies who are engaged in research. They brought the product for the first time in the world through this R&D. They are innovators. While generic manufacturers are those who trade on those products that came from it after the patency must have expired, maybe after 10 or 20 years, as the case may be. These are the two different categories. We say that due to the large financial investment involved in the manufacture of this medicine, those involved in innovative products receive what we call market exclusivity. At this point, it is a time given to them for them to reap back what they have invested in R&D. So after the exclusivity has expired, a lot of generic manufacturers can now enter to manufacture and bring to the market generic versions of the original brand molecule. I want us to understand that honestly, the cost implication is usually enormous. Some people will tell you that it requires on the average about even $1 billion to $2 billion to enter into R&D and ensure that the product sees the that for generic manufacturers, the cost is quite less compared with those who are innovative brands. So, but at the same time, I can also assure that generic producers produce the same therapeutic effect and their product also product. In both cases, whether innovators or generic, a lot of costs are attached. In each of these components of the value chain, a range of costs are incurred and value are added, which we are now going to see in a very nutshell. What are those different costs associated with the different parts? For originators, the largest costs are costs associated with what? Drug discovery, which identifies new chemical or biologic entities that have potential to advance the current standard of disease treatment. They also have costs attached to rigorous clinical studies that will ensure that the product at the end of the day will be beneficial to the patient. Then, of course, we have costs associated to submission of application to regulatory agencies, promotion and education of key stakeholders about the product and the benefit it can bring to the patient. For us here, some of us who are into patient, it takes on the average about 1.5 to 2 million on whatever you are. And for R&D, it is usually very, very huge. So that's something very, very important. For generic manufacturers, they have what we call relatively low development and manufacturing costs. So some of those costs are like they do a lot of trade incentives, they offer larger discount to receive volume sales, and of course, even in the locality where they are playing, they have to engage in a lot of sales and marketing expenses. You also know that they will also employ a lot of marketing experts, medical and pharmaceutical sales for them to move their product from point A to point B. And that also draws in quite a lot of costs. Now, what are the values added? Let us start with the value added from the generation of new medicine. First and foremost is we are able to identify a new molecule for a new disease entity. That's one value. Without innovating, we may not have drugs for the treatment of HIV/AIDS, for example, COVID-19 management, or for example, malaria, for example, hepatitis, for example. So we have to give them, these are values they are bringing on board. They must also tackle a new disease indication, improve health outcomes, treatment safety, tolerability, and or side effects. The ability to improve specific patient subpopulation is another benefit to the health system, such as decreasing the burden on other health resources and overall societal benefits, such as enabling people to return back to, as well as even generic brands. The value added from generic manufacturers is that of introducing competition. When generic brands come, it's like they are introducing competition to the innovative brand, thereby reducing the cost, the level of what? The pressure of the cost of the customer. At the end of the day, something that is actually sold for 5,000 naira through generic brand, you can get it at 1,000 naira.
Seems that we may be having some technical issues here.
Addition in distribution, because remember we have talked about distribution and of course dispensing unit. For distribution, moving the product from Lagos, for example, to the east, or Lagos, for example, to the north, attracts a lot of also cost. And the value there is what? Accessibility of the essential medicine to the people who require it. Is there, because even if you produce without the product making it accessible to the patient who requires it, that's a very huge gap. So we also have to look at activities, costs added in dispensing to the patient. My friend who talked from Association of Community Pharmacists will tell you that honestly, from the point of view of professional, is getting the right medical advice, the right pharmaceutical advice, the right dosage, the right thing to use. And at the end of the day, I think we are all in.
We seem to be losing you, sir.
Associated with the use of this product. So the value we are bringing on board is actually quite tremendous. Hello?
Okay. Hello, sir. We seem to be losing you. You keep going in and out. So, and then again, please, can you help us fix your video again?
Okay, I'm hearing you now.
Yes, yes. It was a bit. Yes. Please go on, sir. I think it's better now. But we can't see you. The video
Now.
off. Yes,
You
sir.
can't see me?
Let me see. Okay. Okay, go on, sir. But sir, please, we have
my
just
video
about...
is on.
Okay, yes. Please go on, sir. Yes, we can hear you. We have just about 5 minutes left, sir. So we are looking forward to hearing you, sir. Please go on, sir.
I'll soon finish.
No. Yes.
Okay. Let me also briefly talk about taxes. Of course, taxes have been shown to be also an essential part of the value chain, very, very important. The most important of this is the import tariff, which is custom duty imposed by importing countries on the value brought into the country. We have some things like value added tax, and these are all. Now, the component of my presentation is the role of finance. Of course, we cannot take out that finance is the Elysia that assists in the formation and sustenance of new businesses and allow businesses to take advantage of opportunities to grow. Consumers and business benefit from financing programs. They benefit because financing gives customers more buying power and flexibility, and it helps businesses book sales and improve cash flow. It is therefore difficult to talk about value chain creation, each step in the value chain, and getting banks that have a very perfect understanding of the financial needs of their customers can be a great asset in driving the different value chain which we have discussed today. We're able to move from bad to good to great through healthy financial programs with business-friendly banks. To believe that Polaris Bank would also come and partner with the Nigerian Association of Industrial Pharmacies, Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, for us to create the necessary value chain to our teeming population. Companies like Emzo have done it and they have succeeded. Companies like Friesen have done it and they have succeeded. Green that we too can join and succeed. Thank you for this great opportunity and God bless you.
Wow, thank you very, very much, sir. That was brilliant. That was extremely brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing with us and also for keeping the time. That was lovely. You said a lot of interesting things. You talked about API production not being available. When we get to the question and answer session, we'll look a bit, more into that. But you also talked about banks needing to understand their value chain, their consumers more. And I believe that Polaris Bank, as you've said, is ready to do that. And we'll be sharing that afterwards. Let's go onto the third speaker right now. We are going to be moving away from somebody who is in the core pharmaceutical industry, right? And we're going to be hearing from somebody who works with a lot of those in the pharmaceutical industry, but isn't actually directly within that industry. He runs a company called Tremendoc, is the CEO and founder of Tremendoc, an online telehealth platform that has an innovative way of getting healthcare to the consumer. And he has a very interesting presentation to share with us today on how we can leverage technology to improve our business. Please welcome with me, Mr. J. We call him Mr. J. So he's going to come in and share with us. You are welcome, Jay. Please go on.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Afternoon already. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Honored to be part of this, and very interesting presentation so far. I hope that I can match up, with what has been presented already. I would like to share my screen. Okay, so I'll be speaking on the impact of technology and the pharmacy business in Nigeria. Let's look at a quick overview of what I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about the pharmaceutical business in Nigeria, the stage at which it is today, the problems associated in the pharmaceutical business or space in Nigeria, and how technology can solve those problems. And then how we can, in solving the problems, how we can work together with telemedicine companies and also other health stakeholders as well in the industry. So a little overview around the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. I think some of these things have been spoken to here in other presentations. It's majorly an import sector. Countries from between UK, India, China, and some other countries. We import some of the drugs, or most of the drugs that are being sold in Nigeria. As this has been said already, this industry is an industry that potentially can grow up to $4 billion in 2026, and this is just Nigeria alone. I highlighted some of the local manufacturing companies that exist already in Nigeria, which some of them have been mentioned as well. Interestingly, Nigeria's growth rate in the pharmaceutical industry is about 9% per year, where globally is around 5.5%. It shows that there's a huge opportunity in the pharmacy space in Nigeria. And then I also mentioned the retail space, from the online players to the physical retail players as well. I also highlighted common drugs that are sold that are purchased in the pharmaceutical industry, from anti-malaria to antibiotics and diabetic drugs. I would move to my next slide, which will talk about, speak a little bit around the problems. I think it's very obvious around the lack of adequate healthcare infrastructure in Nigeria, which also is caused by a lack of funding. We have areas in Nigeria, especially the northern regions and communities, underserved communities, where they depend on probably their primary healthcare centers to dispense drugs. Some of which these primary healthcare centers do not even exist and are not even functional. So you beg to wonder, how do these people get drugs when they fall ill? And this also brings to the fact that how do they even get diagnosed in the first place to get right prescriptions? And then there is, there's a background noise. Can somebody go mute? It's giving a background echo. So there's also there's also the sale of counterfeit substandard medicines, which is a huge problem in the pharmacy industry and in Nigeria and the healthcare space as well. I'm going to touch on that properly in my following slides. And then on availability of central patient database. I think this is a huge problem that sometimes is overlooked. And I believe that this, if treated and if there's a solution to this, would rapidly improve the pharmacy industry and give proper care and dispense proper drugs to patients. So I'm going into the core of my presentation, which is technology. What can pharmacies, introduce to their current business and possibly improve revenue in their businesses? Telepharmacy, I think it's the easiest way that pharmacists can go by providing an online. I can see that there is Vivian here who is doing amazing work with Medsaf. If a pharmacy can have an online, part of its business, it gives you, it's cost effective when you're looking at investing a lot more capital in building physical infrastructures across Nigeria and reaching customers. It gives you access to patients across Nigeria that we'll probably never really reach. You have your pharmacy in Lagos, but you still are able to have patients in Calabar or Kwara State or far north. And then it's also convenient for the patient, where the patient can reach, go online, get access to the drugs that they need, and then have it delivered to them. I've talked about the wide range of patients that this would give you access to. And then there's also, for instance, if there is no technical capability of the pharmacy, there's collaboration. I really am big on collaborations. There are companies that are doing this already that I believe that pharmacies can collaborate with and expand their reach using the technology that these companies have already enabled. And then there is the use of drones. We've had companies like Zipline and LifeBank who have used drones in dispensing vaccines. I mean, Zipline has done over 18 million in miles coverage in delivering vaccines across Nigeria. I mean, that I don't think there's anything stopping the pharmaceutical industry in collaborating with companies like this and delivering drugs and dispensing drugs, especially in areas that are not accessible by road, even though we have logistics through motorbikes and cars or buses. But we know the situation of some roads that are not accessible at all. And I believe that the use of drones would be very effective in delivering prescriptions on time and reach areas that we cannot generally reach. Data synchronization, I'm an advocate for this. I think that the healthcare stakeholders in Nigeria need to have work together, collaborate in such a way where data is synchronized, and that there's a data bank where patients' data are reached. How does this affect the pharmaceutical industry? We've mentioned today that out of pocket, we have over 70% of Nigerians spend out of pocket in treating themselves. And then we also have about 52.1% to 92% of Nigerians that self-medicate. Even as we're trying to deal with the self-medication problem, right? The first point of call for self-medication after going on Google or somewhere online to think about what your issue is, the next point of call is usually the pharmacy. But how would the pharmacy, equip themselves enough that they can actually, help these patients further? The cost of getting a medical doctor in a pharmacy, it's not even, I don't even think it's advisable. But I think when patients come in, if there was access to data, some patients don't even know whether they are allergic to a particular drug, and they go there and order for a drug, and it's given to them, and then they have allergic reactions to these drugs. But we're looking at a system where we can have data, from different stakeholders in the industry. Tremendoc alone has done over 300,000 consultations in the last 2 years. Imagine the kind of data. And then this can also go as far as help pharmacies predict, possible disease outbreaks across Nigeria. That would help in your stock. When you're trying to buy drugs, you can figure out, okay, looks like there's based on our analysis, there's going to be an outbreak of cholera, and then you're purchasing more drugs around that, in preparation, and then there is also talking about the entire healthcare system where, the outbreak can also be averted. Another thing I think that, it's a big issue in the pharmacy industry is the sale of counterfeit drugs. That market alone is over $200 billion globally. But then WHO has said 270,000 deaths annually are linked to fake anti-malaria drugs alone in sub-Saharan Africa. This is an annual number, and I think it's crazy. It's also said that 30% of the medications sold in Africa alone are substandard. We have companies today like Check It and RxAll that have technology in, identifying, fake drugs and substantive standard drugs. I also believe that pharmacies should, have some sort of relationships with these companies to help making sure that the drugs given and dispensing to individuals or patients that walk into their stores are actually the right drugs. I can't leave here without talking about telemedicine and the use and the collaborative opportunity with telemedicine. I would talk about my company, Tremendoc. In the last 2 years alone, Tremendoc has, as I mentioned before, has done over 300,000 consultations on the platform where people can talk to doctors remotely, whether GPs or specialists. And our doctors have actually issued over 170,000 prescriptions. In the next year, we're looking at over 2 million consultations done on Tremendoc alone. I think I can't stress how important it is for pharmaceutical companies or pharmacies to partner with telemedicine companies like Tremendoc in giving or dispensing prescriptions through the platform. And also, it's also a two-way relationship where pharmacies, I believe, should have telemedicine booths in their facilities, for physical facilities, where people walk in and probably need proper advice from a medical doctor. And these booths, which could just be through a tablet, would have a doctor available on the platform. And this can be done through collaboration with existing telemedicine companies, where you can access the doctors right there, where the patients can access the doctors and get proper prescriptions when they walk into the facilities. So for me, the way forward will be strategic collaborations with different stakeholders to improve revenue in the industry. And also, we've talked about financing and funding. We think, and thank God that we are here with Polaris Bank, and I'm amazed at the kind of things that they've been doing already. But we really think that more funding is required in this space. And then policies, which have been talked on already. I think improved policies to help the environment would be a good way to go forward. I think that comes to the end of my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you very, very, very much. That was amazing. When you mentioned drones, I was like, really, this is happening now. Some people are using drones and we cannot be sleeping. I've heard someone say to me that you cannot ask a business today if you are using technology, because it's impossible to not use technology. So with that, I just want to encourage everybody that, look, technology is the future. It's not the future. Technology is now. It has come to stay. And we have to start finding ways to leverage technology to improve our business. Whether if you are running a pharmacy store and you are not online, it's time to get online, right? And maybe it's time for us to start talking to Tremendoc to see how we can maybe get some of his technology into our pharmacies as well. There's just so much we can do with technology. Thank you very much, Dr. J. Mr. J, sorry. That was great. So we're going to move on to the next speaker, who is Vivian Nwaka. Vivian Nwaka, the only female.
Hello.
On this panel. Thank you for bringing some estrogen into the panel. We're very grateful for that. Just to say a bit about Vivian. Vivian is a serial entrepreneur. She's done a lot of innovation within the healthcare space. She currently manages a business called Medsaf, which is a distribution company, but they leverage a lot on technology to be able to provide those services. And they are also partnered with Polaris Bank and other financial institutions to extend credit to those within the industry. So she has some very interesting views to share with us today. She's going to be sharing from our own experience and helping us to improve our businesses through access to healthcare, to finance. Thanks a lot, Vivian. Thank you for coming. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I'm very much so honored to be here. Like many of you, I've been in the trenches fighting the good fight of bringing quality healthcare to Nigeria. I launched Medsaf in 2017. A friend of mine had died from a fake malaria pill. And instead of just being quiet about it, I wanted to see how I could be part of the solutions for the healthcare industry in Nigeria. And that's when we launched Medsaf. So Medsaf is a pharmaceutical platform automating and financing the pharmaceutical value chain, all the way from manufacturer to patient in emerging markets. Our whole goal is about increasing access, affordability, and quality of medications. And that makes you all as pharmacists a crucial player within what Medsaf is trying to achieve. And so how does Medsaf work? Well, what we found was that a lot of our hospitals and clinics and pharmacies had to work with many different sources to get their medications on a daily, weekly basis. It would cause a lot of stress for them as business owners to have to find all these different places to purchase their medications. And then, of course, working capital was a challenge as well. And so what I saw within the pharmaceutical industry was a, really a business issue, right? How do we actually look and see how we can help business owners run their businesses better around the purchasing and managing of medications? So what Medsaf does is we do a lot of the hard work for you. So you as a pharmacist, we actually aggregate all of the medications that you need. We go to the manufacturers and the suppliers and we vet them. We perform quality control checks on every single medication multiple times through its journey throughout Medsaf. We leverage partnerships with these manufacturers. We have hundreds of manufacturers globally and locally that we work with, and we leverage better deals from them, discounts, support for our partners. We work with suppliers and empower them and make sure that they have the highest level of standards. And we use technology at every single point of the chain. Tremendoc mentioned tracking and tracing. We actually were the first to have tracking and tracing pharmaceutical technology to make sure that there's transparency on the movement of medications and that you can then have a higher level of understanding how to authenticate the sourcing of that medication. We have a plethora of products on our platform. There isn't anything that you need that we can't find on our platform. And part of our offering to you is that if you have a medication that you can't find or you're not happy with the price, we'll actually go out there and search for it for you and match your price. We also have players that we plug into this platform in this ecosystem. So logistics companies, we have bikes, cars, vans, trucks, airplanes, you name it. Whatever way we need to get your medication to you, we have the right player plugged in, ready at a moment's notice to ship your medications across the country. And I think most importantly, and why I'm so excited to be here, is that since 2017, Medsaf has worked on the financing of medications. Because what we found was that our hospitals and clinics and pharmacies, once they had access to better financing, they would actually purchase not only more medications from Medsaf, which is great, but they would actually purchase higher quality medications. And if our goal, we're all here together trying to make sure that we're improving the health care opportunities in Nigeria, that to me was extremely important. So I have raised money from around the world. I mean, I have fought really hard. I think Medsaf has financed over $3 million worth of pharmaceutical transactions. And so that's why it's so important for Polaris Bank to now be a partner in helping us, because we feel that the purchasing and the managing and the financing of the medications all go hand in hand. Now, what has Medsaf done and how can it be helpful to you? So first of all, we ship to over 17 states. We're rural, we're urban. So wherever you are, you can actually now use technology. We are performing quality control as a service. So you can rest assured when you work with Medsaf that you have a partner that is vetting the source of your medications and leveraging the best prices and quality for you. So we're aggregating these medications. And so we're actually looking at what medications are you purchasing, but also what are the 1,000+ hospitals that are within and clinics and pharmacies that are within Medsaf's network, what are they purchasing? And then we use that to go to the manufacturers to leverage better prices. We're also aggregating suppliers. We have over 7 layers of redundancy for every one product. And you know, if you're out there in the field, you know that one source is not always enough. Someone will stock out, someone will just not be available. They won't pick up their phone. Medsaf does all that hard work for you. Medsaf does all the hard work of getting the logistics companies for you, the financing, and helping you manage your stock. So we are the best suited partner for pharmacies. Now, since the pandemic, I want to talk a little bit about that because I really believe that things have, from a macro perspective, have gotten worse. And because they've gotten worse, technology has to be in your game plan. Since the pandemic started, we've seen 500% increases in certain medications and consumables. We've seen stockouts due to closed ports. Whenever China closes down, we see the ripple effects of that in Nigeria. Unavailability, even within Nigeria, is rampant. And it's due to the decentralization and the way that everybody isn't connected. That is kind of dealing with a lot as part of fueling a lot of the challenges that we have with the availability of medication. And then we also definitely have working capital challenges. So think back to 2020, March, April, May of 2020. Think back to all the decisions that you had to make as a pharmacy owner. We know that financing was a big part of what was on your mind. Now, remember, Medsaf brings everybody together. So we grew from just Lagos in 2020 to beginning of 2020. Now we're in 17 states because people from all over the country started to use technology to purchase and manage their medications. We've grown over 600% since the pandemic. And I believe that validates Medsaf in this market. I remember going to the PCN meetings back in 2017 and addressing all of you, talking about technology. And, back then, I don't think it was at the forefront of our minds. But what I'm saying now is that the future is here. And I want to talk a little bit about the embedded finance solution, or what I would say is inventory financing opportunity that we have with banks like Polaris. And also talk about some stories on the field that I think can be really helpful for you as you start to think about how can I become more credit worthy so that I can get financiers like Polaris involved in my business. Well, first of all, the customers that Medsaf has that have accessed financing, whether through Medsaf or through our partners, have grown like thousands of %. We've seen hospitals, clinics, and pharmacies that were really tiny that were able to grow, even purchase other pharmacies or other clinics, and actually even expand to other states, all because they had access to financing. One of the biggest parts of this that we feel that Medsaf was directly involved in is that we are creating a financial transparency around your medication purchases. And as a pharmacy owner, your medication purchases are the core of your business. And so when you have every single transaction of what you're purchasing, exactly what you're purchasing, the purchase price, when you purchased it, when you sold it, when you have all of that financial information, it makes it easier for a bank like Polaris to plug in and say, you know what, you are worthy of credit. And not only are you worthy of credit, you're worthy of more and more and more. And Medsaf's lending app is not only just geared around the purchasing of medications. We're plugging in lenders from the US, from Europe, from all over the world to make sure that you have access to financing, even for bigger things like equipment, etc. But it's the core of this are these financial transactions. And we have seen people use Medsaf's transparency to get funding to expand their businesses in ways I never imagined. We've seen them be able to work better with their partners like insurance companies because they have proof. And they have gotten away from the cash transactions that were typical of the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. So how do you work with Medsaf? It's really easy. Go to medsaf.com right now on your phone and sign up. We have a whole onboarding team that's going to walk you through the platform. You identify what medications you'd like to purchase, and you apply for credit because we want to make sure you have access to as much support as you possibly can. You check out, and your order is delivered anywhere in Nigeria within 48 hours. We perform demand planning analysis, so we're constantly analyzing your purchases so that we can preempt your demand and that you can order again. So again, remember, Medsaf, I've been in the trenches with you since 2017, working really hard to support this pharmaceutical industry, and now the time is now. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Thank you so much. That was brilliant, right? I can see in the chat box some have written that how come they've never heard about Medsaf before. Well, thank you for giving us a practical example of how you have worked with people to leverage finance to improve their businesses, right? Thanks for being as practical as possible. For those that are asking about Medsaf, I think that we have somebody will drop in the details in the chat box. But thank you very much, Vivian, for that. Very, very grateful. Now, we've heard a lot about, opportunities. We've heard about challenges. We've heard about, practical examples of how we can improve our business, what others are using technology to do, what others are using finance to do. Now, we are going to a critical point of this program where we are then now going to be saying to ourselves, what are we going to do? What do we need to do to be able to access some of the financial products that Vivian has spoken about? What do we need to do to position in such a way that, we can have our pharmacy online, or start using drones and all that, right? So without further ado, I'm going to invite someone who everybody, I'm sure most people on this call already know. His name is Pharmacist Okwanubi. He's been around for a very long time. I have known him personally for a very long time, a real advocate of the pharmaceutical industry and pushing pharmacy in Nigeria. He's done great with Farm Alliance. He's done great with his consulting as well. He's the lead consultant of Shine and Chloe Consulting, and he's also the project catalyst for Farm Alliance Africa. He's done a lot in the retail space, and he's also even ventured into pharma manufacturing. So if there's anybody that has the end-to-end overview of the pharma industry, it will be Pharmacist Additional Okwanubi. You are very welcome, sir. Please take the stage and go on with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akinwari. It's always a pleasure to share from the very little I know with my audience. All right, so I'll be spending the next, I had already asked the national chairman to launch a band of prayer warriors to make sure I keep to time. So I've set my timer now. All right, so very quickly, we're going to walk through. You said?
I said, don't worry, I'll remind you.
All right. All right, so very quickly, I'll run us through my slides. And basically, I'll be talking about the foundation we all need to build to be able to do the kind of things that have been highlighted so far. Is it leveraging technology? Is it leveraging finance? Whatever it is, it's on the assumption that you have a good business that you're running. And so I'll be looking at laying a foundation for an enduring pharmacy business, but I'll be using the 5 rocks framework. And essentially that just say, what are the 5 components you need to look at to be able to guarantee, to a large extent, the success of the business you are running. And so, yes, we've spoken about drones, we've spoken about telemedicine, we've spoken about, logistics and all that. But let's go back. Let's go back to the very beginning. Let's go back to the business you run now. And my focus will be specifically targeted at community pharmacists. But then whatever I'm saying can be extrapolated for any business venture. All right, so I talk about the 5 rocks, and for me, the 5 rocks are these rocks you see on your screen now, and of course that's a slingshot. So I guess you want to take down the giants that are holding your business captive. And so I'll just launch very quickly into each of the 5 rocks, and then I guess we can call this webinar a wrap, of course, after the Polaris Bank presentation. The first rock is the rock Y, and what does that rock Y stand for? It's you. And the question is, are you the right person to run the business you are running? Like Dr. Kwari announced earlier, I'm the project catalyst for Farm Alliance, and that's a retail business network that has about close to 100 businesses in the network, which translates to about 300 stores across Nigeria now. And so what I usually ask people, is, are you leading that business right? Are you the right person to sit in the driver's seat? Whenever I run sessions with community pharmacists, I ask, are you supposed to? Sometimes it's the owner of the business that's a problem of the business. And so we need to ask ourselves some hard questions. Are you the right person to lead that business? And this book is recommended reading for anybody who is in the business space, especially for those who are not, who are professionals like you and I, doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, whoever you are. And this book, E-Myth, written by Michael Gerber, E-Myth Revisited, says why small businesses don't work and what to do about it. And the E-Myth is, the E-them is the entrepreneurial myth. And it says that the myth is that most people who start small businesses are entrepreneurs. And it's been found out to be very wrong. And it's been called the fatal assumption. And the fatal assumption is this, that an individual who understands the technical work of a business can successfully run a business that does that technical work. It means that a pharmacist who understands how a pharmacy runs, he believes he can run a pharmacy. That is the fatal assumption. So essentially, these are snippets from the book. It says that if your business depends on you, then you don't have a business, you have a job. And these are the things I'm going to be hammering on as I move on. For those of us who are on this call who own pharmacies, the questions I'm asking are directly targeted at you. Why did you set up that pharmacy? Was it to become your own boss? I mean, you had worked for a pharmacy, even, and then you see every day you are selling 400,000, 500,000, 1 million, and you're asking yourself, I can do this thing for myself now. If a guy is carrying all this money away, just give me 10% of this, I'll be fine. Is that why you set up your pharmacy? Was it forced or voluntary retirement? What do I mean? You've clocked the age of 60 and you've been ceremoniously sent forth from your place of work, and all you can think about doing is opening a store. Is that why you set up that pharmacy? Or there was redundancy, you were fired or whatever, and you were sent out and you didn't know any other thing to do apart from running a pharmacy? Is that why you set up the pharmacy? Or is it because you saw a business problem in the environment and you set up your business as a solution to that problem? Or could it just be a money-making venture? Like I said earlier, you saw what your boss was doing and you felt that, look, I'm even smarter than this, my MD. Let me go and start my own business. Is that why you started? The reason why you start a business sometimes determines for how long that business will last. Or was it free money to set up? You're married to a rich man, or you're married to a rich woman, and you work all day, all night, and they say, come, Oga or Madam, look, this your work is not giving you time for family. How much is it? Take 200 million, 10 million, 2 million, go and set up a pharmacy, at least that will give you time. Is that why you set up the pharmacy? I know a number of people set up pharmacies where you win grants in those days. Was it free money to set up? You need to ask yourself these hard questions, because it just be the reason why you are not doing too well. And this is what I asked before. Are you the managing director or a damaging director? So what's your vision for the pharmacy where you set it up? Why did you pick that location? Was it just the closest 200 meters to you, or you really saw a need in that space and you really wanted to fill it? Are you enjoying yourself as a community pharmacist or a business owner, an industrial pharmacist? Or are you feeling torture? Does Monday morning bring horrors to your mind, or does it make you feel with adrenaline to go and conquer mountains? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the first question, the first rock we need to address, whether you are the right person to run that business. The next rock is the E rock, and that's your earnings. Do you understand your earnings? Do you have a grip on your earnings? What's your story? The numbers of your business tells the story, and like we always like to say, numbers don't lie. I've heard this I read this in a book somewhere. I think it was a Brian Tracy quote, and I'm not sure Polaris guys can help clarify down the line, but I hear that they don't sack bankers for not giving loans. They only sack bankers when they give bad loans, or they can sack a banker when they give a bad loan, you didn't do your due diligence and all that, you know. And so a number of us have issues with banks. Oh, they didn't give me a loan. They told me to go and bring my grandmother's birth certificate and my great-grandmother's death certificate. These banks don't want to give us loans and all those things. And I tell people, and which will be my last line here, loans are not gifts. It's not dash. It's somebody else's money they are giving you on the assumption that you will turn that money around, make a profit, and then return the money. And so when you go to a bank and they say, a bank is not interested in collecting your house, or they want you to bring the money back because they are not real estate companies either. You know, so, but a number of reasons, the reason why most of us have issues with the demands from banks is because our businesses sometimes, not all the time, because banks too also sometimes have their own issues. Sometimes our businesses are not as structured as they need to be. And so the question is this: how bankable is your business? Oh, we all want banks to give us money, we want government to give us money, we want everybody to give us money. I can tell you something for free. There is a lot of money available for businesses. The problem is that most businesses are not structured to receive the funding they need. So I ask all of those of us who are on this call, whether you are a business owner or even an employee in a business, what is your 2022 target for the business you are running? I know there's an argument. I know the chairman spoke about, is it a pharmacy? Is the pharmacy a business? Is it a service and all that? I don't get involved in that discussion because for me, it's a mixture of both. My answer to that is this: the service that you are given is the active ingredient, is the API. The excipient is your business knowledge. You cannot give APIs alone, your patient will die. You cannot give excipients alone, your patient will not get better. You need a mixture of the two to deliver the medicine at the point of need. So it is both a business and a service, and the two must go together. And so if you run a community pharmacy, which is a business that sells medicine, sells health to people, are you running that business as a business? Does your business know what it wants to do in the year 2022, or is all committed into God's hands? Wherever God takes us, we will follow. Now, this is 2022. The question I'm asking you again is, 2021 is done and dusted. Do you have in a book somewhere analysis of your 2021 performance? Your 2021 sales, do you have it anywhere? This is April. Q1 is over. Have you analyzed your Q1 sales, your Q1 business performance versus where you're coming from? So if you know what your turnover for 2021 was, what was your target? It's not so important what you sold. What did you sell versus what you wanted to sell? Very important. Most of my presentation today will be posing questions to you, questions that will make you sit back and think. You know, because 20 minutes will not allow me to give you the questions and the answers, but I'll try my best to give you some pointers towards where the answers will be. Have you done your 2020, 2019, 20, and 21 trend analysis? There's something called comps. If you're a retailer and you don't understand retail comps, then there is a problem. And so you need to understand how you are doing versus business. Is your business on the upward trajectory like the map you see here, or is it flat, or is it declining? Some of us don't know. What's your 2022 opening stock? This question is very important because if you do not have a grip on the answer, it's even difficult for you to start preparing your financial statements. But the first line is opening stock. And so I say stand up for recognition. If as a participant in this webinar, in your drawer somewhere, you have your 2021 audited account, or you have even commissioned it, an accountant has collected your books and they are auditing. Remember, end of last month, you're supposed to have filed your annual returns. Have you done all that? If you are not keeping to these basic financial tenets of running a business, it's difficult for you to be able to sit with a banker and negotiate favorably. A banker is going to sit with you and do what it takes to make sure his bank makes the most profit, and more importantly, gets the money back. If you sit and you discuss business intelligently with all your facts and figures, the likelihood of you getting a loan at a good rate is very high. So do you understand your numbers? Are you tracking your comps? What does comps mean? We have January 2021, January 2022, February 2021, February 2022, quarter 1 2021, quarter 1 2022. Are you tracking these numbers to know whether your business is actually growing or flattened? Do you understand the geography, the demography, and the psychography of your business? Looks like big English, but do you understand your location? Do you understand the kind of people that do business with you? And do you understand why they do business with you? Do you bank your sales intact? A number of us shy away from this, and this is one of the most important things you need to do as a business owner. Not because a bank is sponsoring this webinar. If you've been following any of my meetings year in, year out, this is something we always ask. Because when you bank your sales intact, it helps to tell your business story. It gives the bank a picture of your valuation of your worth. A number of us are afraid of charges, we're afraid of this, we're afraid of that, but in the fear of those things, we've also lost a number of things we could have gotten value for. Because if you sit with me and you say, oh, we do so volume of business, I ask for evidence. And if you don't have evidence, then I'm sorry, you're only telling me stories. Do you track all your expenses to the last kobo? We were in our Farm Alliance meeting yesterday, our monthly meeting at the Radisson Hotel in Ikeja. And one of the things we are looking at is the sharp rise in OPEX for every business. We're talking about diesel costs today. How are we tracking this cost? How is it affecting our profitability? A few weeks ago, I was talking to a bread seller. A number of us know the Old English brand of bread. And I was asking the lady that I hope we're not expecting a price increase anytime soon. And the lady was like, well, for brands like Old English, they do their own increase, with a blue, 100 naira at once. And so when they do that, they just add it on to the cost of the bread. But other businesses add it incrementally, 10 naira, 20 naira, 30 naira. What the woman said is that for that one, they just keep their prices constant. My mind just went to the fact that I hope this woman knows she's subsidizing other people, or that those brands of bread she's selling are less profitable because now she's having to make less money because she wants to keep her price constant. Are you keeping a tab on all these things? Like I said, to the last kobo. How are you managing your expiries, your pilferages, and your damages? These issues hit your bottom line hard, especially at a time like this. So you really need to have a grasp of your earnings, a grasp of your numbers. Have you met Rebecca? A number of us who have followed my teachings for a while, you know who Rebecca is, you know what she does. She tears homes apart and all that, Do you have tidy margins, or are you playing the price game? Are you one of those who will say, oh, this guy sells for 300, let me match his price and all that? I don't have any problem with you matching price. Just know that there's only one beneficiary when there's a price war, the customer. Every other person is bleeding from every orifice in his body. And so this Rebecca, Rebecca actually is an acronym for Retail Break-Even Calculator. And you can download it free of charge on the Farm Alliance website. That's the address there, farmalliance.com.ng. Under the materials section, there are confidential materials only for members, but we have some public materials. Under there, the last upload there that you can download for free is the Rebecca tool. What does Rebecca do for you? Rebecca helps you understand how much you need to sell on a daily basis for your business to break even. When you hit that amount, you have not made a dime of profits. You have only broken even. Rebecca webinar is longer than a 1 hour session, so we can't do that here. But if you're able to lay your hands on the tool, it's a little bit intuitive. You'll be able to walk around it and then find your way towards knowing what your break-even number is. Still along the lines of earnings, do you have your customer database? Do you understand your customer? Do you have a customer acquisition strategy? What does that mean? Do you have an active plan to bring customers into your business? Do you have an active plan to retain customers once they have come into your business? Do you have an advertising and marketing plan? And do you understand inventory velocity? These are the things that have a direct correlation with the business you are running. Like I said, this is not strictly for community pharmacy. It affects every business, including the one of our moderators, the Medbury, that's Dr. Akinwari. The next rock A is appearance. How does your pharmacy look? Visual appeal is very important in pharmacy. It's a confidence boosting tool. When a customer feels ill and comes into a pharmacy that looks professionally laid out, healing has started. Visual appeal is very important. I tell people, how much will you pay for this piping hot plate of amala with begiri and ewedu? You can see some roundabouts, playing around in the stew and all that. This is obviously very tasty. But the question is, how much will you pay? Some of us will pay, well, with the way Buhari has managed, maybe 1,000 naira, maybe 1,500. But how much will you pay for this one? This is Eba that went to Stanford University. We can see all the pros and everything. Because of the efforts that have been put in the layout, the charge that we put on it will be higher. Not to talk of this Poundedian that went to Harvard, When efforts are made into improving the appearance of meals, the prices go through the roof. It does not mean this thing costs more than what the first one cost. It's just that efforts were made to improve the appearance. And so when I approach your pharmacy from afar, what do I see? Now, if I want to buy a supplement worth 10,000 naira, and I come to the pharmacy on my top left, and you say you have a drug of 10,000. Sorry, I will naturally assume it's a fake medicine because of the way the pharmacy looks. This doesn't inspire confidence. But then look at the other one on the right. When I come in there, there's some confidence there that whatever I get from this kind of pharmacy will be top notch. But then when I now enter the pharmacy, what do I see? Is it that on the left again, or that on my right, Does the layout of the pharmacy inspire confidence? And it's a total package. Dr. I know I'm on 18 minutes now, so I guess I have about 7 minutes, or 5 minutes, thank you, to go. All right, so how do your people look? Do they look like this or like that? It's a total package. The appearance is important. More important also is the look of the products you sell, which is why Dr. Akinwari said that we ventured into product manufacturing. It was simply an aluta, a protest to say that Nigerians can produce world-class products here in Nigeria. This is a product that is produced here in Nigeria, designed by Nigerians. We started, because most things, like we all know, are not produced. Everything is imported, So all the APIs, all the packaging material, but the packs are produced here in Nigeria. The caps, of course, were imported. The bottle is from here in Nigeria. The syringe, we started from importing, but now we procure locally. The adapter is done locally. What am I trying to say? We have latent capacity in Nigeria. All we need, everything is not about government. Sometimes it's the private sector we need to drive the change. When we talk about medical tourism is not a government problem. It is a private sector problem. And I'm very happy with the kind of investments we are beginning to see in the private healthcare space in Nigeria. So what does a pharmacy look like? When last did you give your store a fresh coat of paint? Have you rearranged your pharmacy recently? Do you understand strategic merchandising? I don't have time to go into all this, but the appearance of your store determines whether customers are willing to shop in your store. The rock S is your systems. Are you working in your business or on your business? I ask you, do you have a pharmacy job or is it a pharmacy practice? A pharmacy practice is a pharmacy you own where you are the life wire of that business. The moment you step out, the business steps out. You go to village for Christmas, the business has gone to village. Or do you have a pharmacy business? A pharmacy business is one store that can run effectively without you. And then you have an pharmacy enterprise, and that's multi-store running without you, and you just giving the organizational direction. The last T, the rock T, is the team. And the question is this: are your staff well trained? Do you have a continuous learning philosophy? Dear colleagues, when last did you attend a business conference? The knowledge you have from pharmacy school is not enough to help you succeed in business. The knowledge you have is enough for you to work in a pharmacy, not to run a pharmacy. So you must be deliberate in developing yourself. How many of us have finished one business book in 2022? In Farm Alliance, we are regularly tracking that. I think I'm on number 12 for this year. How many have you read as you are here on this webinar? Do you know that information in every industry doubles every 5 years? So if you don't update your knowledge, we're talking about drones, we're talking about telemedicine. If you're not on top of this game, your business will be like that of the Stone Age. How do you manage your people? I can't run through all this. My time is far spent. And so, does your business have a standard operating procedure? Do you have letters of employment for your staff? Do your staff have job descriptions? Do they know what they're supposed to do? Do you sit with your staff to agree on what they're supposed to do? For pharmacists, do they know their clinical expectations, business expectations? Once you've set the objective, do you set appraisals time sessions to review the objectives that have been set? Do you have a bonus and incentive scheme? What's your talent attraction strategy, your talent retention strategy, and your career growth strategy for your staff? These are the things you need to put in place for your business to operate effectively and in such a way that can inspire confidence of customers to bring their cash, to bring their purchases, and then, of course, for you to scale to be bigger. In conclusion, dear colleagues, funding is crucial to the success and growth of any business enterprise. Businesses must be properly structured in a way that makes them a ready receptacle for quality funding. Sorry for this page. All right. Businesses must be properly structured in a way that makes it a ready receptacle for business funding. To assess quality funding, you must understand the funding types. Not all types of funding are good for a business. There's short-term funding, long-term funding, short-term business needs, long-term business needs. You must understand what kind of funds you need. Now, this is an important point. Loans are good for your business. We're in a call with Polaris Bank last night in preparation for this meeting. And Polaris Bank really, based on the volume of funds they have provided for the retail space, when I was hearing billions of naira, I was like, wow, that's good. And one thing that they will corroborate when they come on board is the repayment rate, which I believe is also very good. And so I'm sure during their presentation also there's going to be, there are some things that were shared with us in preparation for this webinar, things Polaris is doing technology-wise, such that you don't even need to walk into a bank to get financing for your business. Just on an app, you put you fill whatever you need to fill, and then immediately your account gets credited. That's using technology to drive business funding, and then what I'm saying about this is loans are good for a business. However, like I said, don't forget, banks are not there to dash you money. They're there to help support your business so that your business can grow. And so you need to understand your numbers and also your business needs. After this session, listen closely to the Polaris Bank presentation and then engage Polaris with a mindset of leveraging their facilities for the growth of your business. Ladies and gentlemen, integrity is crucial when building an enduring business. You cannot afford not to, your word has to be your bond. When you say A, you must mean A. When you say, I'm paying this loan back in a month, I'm paying in a month. If it's a year, keep to the terms. Because once you can do that, you are building credibility. And also note, the increase in credit funding available in the country is closely tied to credit bureaus. So when you default on a loan with Polaris, I think I run to another bank, your information is with the bureau, and they check and say, this one is a bad customer. They will then give you unfavorable rates because you're a high-risk customer. And last but by no means the least, I've said this before, and I'm ending with it. A loan is not a gift. It is somebody else's savings. And so you make sure that when you get a loan, you pay for the loan so that the person who saved the money can get his money back with interest, and then the cycle continues to revolve, and we all end up happy human beings living in this happy country, if you agree with me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a beautiful session I've had with you, and this is my additional panel signing out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Opanubi. In fact, I can see that you are getting some rounds of applause in the chat section, and it is more than well deserved. You said a lot of interesting and true things. In fact, there's so much that I have learned during this entire webinar, and I believe that we're going to have the slides available for everyone, and we're going to share it around for everyone to see, because it's amazing. We should do more of this from time to time for the entire healthcare industry. Thank you so much, sir. That was fabulous. And to last but not the least, we are going to be rounding off the presentation with Polaris Bank is going to be coming to share some of the services and products that they have. We've heard a lot about it, and I've seen in the chat groups and even in mentions during today's program the need for finance and the need to have access, the need to have cheaper rates, the need to even to make it easier for us to access, So I'm going to be inviting Dr. Abimbola Akorede. He's the Assistant General Manager and Group Head, Southwest of Polaris Bank Limited. He's going to be sharing with us what Polaris Bank has to offer us today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Itunu. Good afternoon, everyone on this platform. We've listened to a lot of people, and two major things came up, and that's finance and, of course, the use of technology in this industry. Riding on what my MD talked about at his opening speech, he talked about sustainability and, of course, the need for us to continually remain relevant in our businesses. And, of course, he also thanked the innovation and the resilience of the pharmaceutical industry in the stand against the pandemic, and, of course, for the provision of requisite expertise at the peak of the pandemic. And of course, he emphasized the importance of the role of good health in driving a prosperous economy and, of course, trust in business. This is our webinar series number 2, the Polaris Business Bank Health Sector Webinar 2.0. And the question is, why are we doing this again and again? This majorly is to re-emphasize our commitment to the pharmaceutical industry and indeed the health sector by way of providing funding access across all the tiers, all the major players in this industry for capacity building, technology, for provision of technology platform that will further foster a robust ecosystem. When the chairman of ACPN spoke, he talked about the value chains in this industry, and just like a farmer will say, from farm to the table. He talked about the entire gamut of the value chain, and of course, from the manufacturers to the pharmaceutical suppliers, the providers of the active ingredient or the active pharmaceutical ingredient, the API. He talked about the distributors, the retailers, and of course, the individuals that also make this happen. So it's an entire value chain from the beginning to the end. And so,
I think we seem to have lost connection. We seem to have lost connection. I'm not sure. Am I the only one that can't hear him any longer?
I can't hear me either.
Oh,
You're not the only one.
Okay, so,
You're not the, let's call it. I'll call it.
right. I think that he may have lost connection. Okay. Adebimpe, do we move to Q&A, and then after that we can just finalize his presentation.
Yes, yes, let's move to Q&A.
Okay, all right then. We'll come back to his presentation when we've been able to sort it out. So again, I just want to say a big thank you to all the presenters today. You have done an amazing job. And even from the feedback we can get from, the comments, we can see that there's a lot that has been learned today. We have a few questions, and I'm just going to run through them for our very able presenters today. I think the first question that we got was around, there's somebody who has asked, how can they set up a pharmacy? No. How can they set up a pharmacy without having, enough financial capacity to do that, right? I think that I would direct this question to our first speaker, who is pharmacist Adewale Oladigolu. I hope he's still around. Can he answer that question for us, please?
Yes, I'm around.
Okay, sir.
Unfortunately, you know that financial institutions such as Polaris, we rely on historics. They need to have an evidence of what you are doing before they can advance to funds to do your business. So for a startup, this is my advice for you. Wherever you are now, you can join the community pharmacy cooperative and then put in some money every month so that you can now have access to 3 times your savings at single digits. If you do that, then you can start your pharmacy and then you can then open an account with the financial institutions, ensure that you bank all your revenues and then grow your numbers so that when you pay everything that Pharmacist Shina Okanobi has said, then you will become an attractive partner to the bank. In fact, your conduct can attract the bank to say, look, we want to advance you some loan. That would be my roadmap for somebody who wants to start a new business. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Pharmacist Adewale. I'm going to go to the second question here. What is the biggest challenge with telemedicine in Nigeria? What is Tremendoc's experience? I think that this is for Mr. J. Chikeze. Can you share with us your biggest challenge in telemedicine and what your experience has been like?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge would be education. Telemedicine is a cultural shift, I still get asked the question today, even from medical professionals, how is it possible that doctors can make a proper diagnosis with patients remotely? I think that's the biggest challenge. My response to that usually is that 70% of the consultations that happen in hospitals can actually be done via telemedicine. We've seen a significant growth since COVID happened. Like I said, we've done a lot of consultations and we haven't received any bad feedback, not one out of over 300,000. So I think that education is key. I also think that a lot of people do not even know that a service exists. We still haven't scratched the surface at all when you look at the population in Nigeria. So that's what I would say. It's the biggest challenge, apart from the other challenges that every business, faces.
Okay, that's interesting. We still have a bit more, some questions for you, Mr. J. Now, everybody thinks that there's great, value in innovation, but then there's a question around, zipline and the use of drones. The question is, at what cost do they actually deliver the service with drones, right? Will it not make the cost of medicines expensive? So if we start using drones like Zipline does in drug delivery, what is it going to do to the cost? Would it not make it more expensive?
Can I answer this? Because we actually, Medsaf actually tried to bring drones to Nigeria in 2019. And what we found was there were a couple of challenges. The drones have a limited area or space that they can actually work within in order to take flight, or they have a certain space requirements in order to take flight. And so that took us out of Lagos, which is where we were primarily, and into more rural locations. And then, we looked at definitely the cost and the impact, and we decided against it. Now, the areas where, these companies are thriving and the products that they're actually focusing on are high value, high impact products. And that's why that's why you have Zipline having started out with with blood, and then you now see them in the United States focusing on rural communities in the US. And the reason that you see that shift is because of cost. So what Medsaf does is we focus on enabling the supply chain, the entire supply chain from manufacturer to patient, with technology to reduce the friction and increase the efficiency of the movement of the medications within that system. That is my suggestion for an urban or for a country like Nigeria with limited space and resources.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Vivian. Thank you for that. I just want to add something. And I think from time we know that the cost of technology usually reduces as it becomes more ubiquitous, right? As technology develops, as more people get into the market, it becomes cheaper. Even right now, we know that there are self-driving cars, and some people are even thinking about cars that fly, right? We are all going to get there, and it's going to become cheaper and cheaper as we go along. So maybe it might not be for now, as you said, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on in the future. But I will still ask Mr. J a question, right? There's a question here that says, what is the cost implication of telemedicine in comparison to a physical visit to a clinic? Mr. J, can you please address that question?
Telemedicine is relatively affordable. In fact, the pricing is relatively insignificant compared to the consultations that happens in hospitals. So, for instance, it's less than $2 to have an unlimited access consultation.
Nigerians, please. How much is that in Naira? Okay, we don't know nowadays. We don't. Please.
Okay, so what we have done is, first of all, for our retail side, we have 1,000 Naira to access GPs on the platform, and this gives you unlimited access for a month for the GPs on the platform alone. But you pay 3,000 Naira, and then you have unlimited access to specialists and GPs on the platform. So the specialists include pediatrics to obstetricians, gynecologists, dermatologists, therapists, orthopedics, and so many wide range of specialties. What we've also done is we've also partnered with health insurance companies as well. We partnered with about 7 of them currently, and also state government as well, that help to subsidize this. So if you're an enrollee with most of the telemedicine, the health HMOs, you already have access for free on telemedicine. So like I said, it's very affordable. The only thing you do is go download the app, and then we also have an offline service where you call a dedicated line and you're routed to a doctor as well.
That's fascinating. But I think that before we let you go, Mr. J, I would like for you to speak about how you have incorporated community pharmacists into your platform. Do you work with community pharmacists where maybe they can sign up and have people deliver drugs to them? Maybe if there's a prescription and all that. What are you doing with community pharmacists today, or what can you do with them?
Okay, so I'll speak to what we can do. What we have today, we are. I like to move away from being called a telemedicine company than I'd rather be addressed as a virtual care provider. So what we've done is create an ecosystem partnered with a chain of laboratories and pharmacies, especially the online pharmacy networks. And we have some large retail pharmacies as well as partners. So when there are prescriptions, they get notified about these prescriptions, and then they deliver it or fulfill the prescriptions. Either the patients walk into the physical space or they get delivered to them. Also with laboratories as well, we've gone ahead to partner with laboratories that provide sample pickups as well, where the customer can or would need further investigation, and then still in their location, the partner we're working with sends a technician that comes to take the sample, and it's analyzed, and the results are sent to the doctors on the platform, and they schedule an appointment, which is the amazing thing about the unlimited access they have in a month. So they don't have to pay for further consultations with that. With the community, I mean, for us, we see a huge growth in the coming months and years with pharmacy prescriptions. I mean, for what I said during my presentation, we've done over 170,000 in 2 years. We're looking at that running into millions before the end of the year, 2022. So it's we want to be able to reach our patients no matter their region and no matter their location. And for us, we are more about building that ecosystem and making it seamless for the patient.
Okay, thank you very much. So what I would just ask is that maybe in the chat box or or leave your contact details so that those that want to be part of this this alliance, so to speak, those that want to be part of Tremendo or be one of your suppliers or your pharma suppliers can contact you to take that forward. Thank you very much, Mr. J. I'm going to run on to Pharmacist Opanubi now. There's a question for you. The question goes, who is eligible to join Pharma Alliance and how can one join? Did you get my question, sir?
Yes, I got it. Pharma Alliance is a business network. It's not a network of individuals. So it's the business that joins the network. And so once you're a PCN registered pharmacy, community pharmacy, you are eligible to join the Pharma Alliance network. It's a subscription-based network. And in Naira, it costs 300,000 per annum to be a member of that network.
Okay. All right. That you also drop your contact details for those that would like to join. We do have a couple of questions, but I'm going to try as much as possible to summarize them. There's a question around the stable prices of medications. And I think that even though it is directed to Vivian, I think that Pharmacist Adewale can help us with this. It goes, how do you ensure stable prices of medications since you are a distribution company for all medications, considering the challenges with Forex? I know that this is going to Vivian, but before Vivian speaks, I would like for Pharmacist Adewale to speak a bit about that in terms of, the economy and, what do you think in terms of the challenges with Forex, sir?
Oh, okay, thank you very much. It's our wish that the Forex remains stable and remains stable for a very long time. However, with technology, we can predict what volume of drugs a particular medication is needed in the country, and we can, at best, what we can do is to make supply chain provisions so that we can absorb shock when it comes and then gradually take it up when the Forex changes. Having said that, there is no insulation against Forex change. We are not the one controlling the macroeconomics, but as a business entity, what one can do is to try to forecast what the country will need as per each particular product, and then make supply chain preparedness so that when Forex changes, at least you still have some stock to dispense, and then the shock is not too much on the consumer. So over to Vivian.
Okay, Vivian, do you want to say a little bit to that? How do you keep your prices stable?
Well, actually, this is an extremely important question, and it speaks to what Medsaf is about. Because when you plug in all of the stakeholders, like a hospital, clinic, and pharmacy, and patient, and on the other side, you plug in your suppliers and your manufacturers through technology, all of a sudden, now all of the transactions, all of the demand that's needed for each medication is now documented. Medsaf has millions of data points around the movement and needs of medications throughout time. And this is information that can be leveraged with the manufacturers for them to understand the demand, and for Medsaf to procure and make sure we're stocking, and for our supplier partners to stock. But also because Medsaf is as close to the hospitals, clinics, and those decision makers, we can also help the manufacturers with offtake, right? So that they can pinpoint where their medication needs to go to, so that when they have this demand planning analysis, they actually know that they can actually take the bet because there is access to the end user and it's streamlined. And that's what Medsaf is all about. And so how do we do it today? We analyze every single customer that works with Medsaf. We do analysis on what their needs are. We do our own demand planning for them. And we educate our customers on fluctuations and issues within the market. We get information in real time from the manufacturers about products that may be running out or scarce. And when there are very serious issues, for example, last year, there was a massive stock out of infusions. It was very dangerous for some hospitals and clinics. You know, we were at the front of the line for allocation of that stock because of our great relationships with the manufacturers. So technology really is a key here because it sheds transparency and allows you to be precise, not only in your own business, but also from a countrywide perspective as well. And that's how we can fight the Forex fluctuations using information and technology.
Thank you very much, Vivian. We can't control what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. We can't control what is happening with Forex, but we can control our own planning. We can control our own inventory management to be able to preempt what we would need and be able to hedge against the foreign exchange challenges. Thank you very much. Our very, very last question is going to go to pharmacist Onuego. Now, there's something that I've heard most of the presenters talk about today, APIs. When it comes to manufacturing, everybody says, oh, we don't have an API production facility. We don't have an API production facility. This seems to be something that is very critical in pharma manufacturing. Can you speak to us a bit about why this is important and if this is required and what you think we need as a country, what you think you need as business owners to be able to tap into this opportunity and setting up an API production facility? How do you think, how should we go about it if somebody were interested in bridging or, you know, closing that gap? Is this a funding problem? Yeah. You shed some more light into it, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. API is a multifaceted problem, let me put it that way. When we talk about API, we talk of advanced chemistry. And for us in the country, honestly, we've not had that advanced chemistry or people dedicated to that aspect of chemistry that will give us the necessary background that will launch us into the API manufacturing. First of all, of course, you know, the API is the necessary precursor for us to manufacture basic routine drugs. So the petrochemical industry is virtually non-existent, or even if it's in existence, nobody is tapping from it. We only want to hope and believe that the Dangote refinery that is in operation will offer us that leverage, will offer that opportunity for us to tap on the inherent advantages from API. So that is one. I do not see it as a function of finance, not at all. I believe that Nigeria will have what it takes to roll it out. I rather see it as a lack of policy statement from the government. The Nigerian government, I don't think we are serious to move it forward. The day we have a policy direction from the government making API something like this, like compulsory for us to take up, I think we are going to see the light of the day. So for me, for now, outside the advanced chemistry, which I believe that Nigeria also will have in abundance, just for some people to come down together and see it as a golden opportunity, and then for government to give that policy direction. I think with that, we can move forward. Let's learn from countries like India and China. They have gone far. Let's start from the basic, paracetamol or vitamin C. I'm not talking of API that involve almost everything. Let's start from the basics. So that's the much I can say about API for now.
Thank you very, very much, and that was in sort of like concluding our Q&A session. Thank you all for all those that sent in questions. I know you still have some questions. We are going to be dropping the contact details, the emails of some of our facilitators, and you can reach out to them directly to get information. So last but not the least, we are going to be concluding our presentations today. Dr. Bimbola Akorede, I'm aware that we have him back now and we fixed the tech challenges. He's going to be closing out this session by telling us about some of the products that Polaris Bank has to offer. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much once again, Dr. Ituno. Apologies for the hitches. We are Polaris Bank, and we are a future determining bank. We are a future forward enterprise, and of course, we love to partner with you. And who we are as a bank is encapsulated in our vision to be the preferred partner, providing superior financial solutions for our customers. We are present in all the states of Nigeria and possibly on every street in Nigeria through our agency banking, the Shopadi agents. With our 250 branches and our over 15,000 agency banking, we are closer to your doorstep than you know. Today, we are the Digital Bank of the Year for the year 2021. And two major things came up in this in the course of our discussion today. One, funding, and then two, technology. And so straight, I'm going to be going to our offerings to us as a bank, and then say where every player is, every player's interest is captured. Again, from this discourse, we've been able to establish the total value chain across the pharmaceutical line, of course, from the manufacturers to the pharmaceutical suppliers, the APIs, just like Dr. Ituno mentioned recently, the providers of the active ingredient used in the manufacturing of these drugs, the distributors, the retailers, the individuals. And of course, along this value chain too, of course, under the distribution, you have the likes of transportation, the storage facilities, and of course, the dispensing. So for every player along this ecosystem, there is a value proposition for you. So in broad terms, we offer one, overdraft facilities. Either you want to use this in form of your working capital or for bulk purchases, either you want to buy locally or you want to import internationally, you want to buy internationally. And of course, you do this through the establishments of your letters of credit. Two, we offer term loan services to the industry and of course to the general health sector. You want to renovate, you want to do some form of expansion, you want to do acquisition of new assets, you want to renovate your outlet, you want to acquire a new outlet, you can access a term loan facility from us. Three, there's asset financing for you to improve on your equipment. You want to buy a new asset, you want to improve on your services, you want to buy generator, you want to buy operational vehicles for your business. There is a product that is available for you. You are a supplier, you have supplied, and you need cash before the receipt of your payment. There's invoice discounting facility for you that you can actually access. And of course, you have a supply, you have LPO from any of these major manufacturing companies, and you want this financed by us, there is an opportunity for you. Again, like I said initially before the network went off, why are we doing this? This is the Health Sector Webinar 2.0. We are only reiterating and showing our commitment to this industry. We believe so much in this pharmaceutical industry, and then we are showing our commitment to you and are ready to partner with you. By way of provision of funding assistance across all the value chain, by way of capacity building, by way of provision of technology platform that will further foster a robust ecosystem. So from the beginning to the end, we want to build capacity, we want to provide access to finance, and then we also want to provide technological platform for you. Again, we have disbursed over 40 billion naira to this sector, to the major players in this industry. And of course, as a bank, we are willing to do more. In terms of driving your business through technology, for us as a bank, one, we are digitizing our loan process to qualify pharmaceuticals and then of course the pharmacies based on your turnover. And this you can access through our digital banking application, our digital banking app. And of course, before the end of the month, this will be fully made available to the general public. Now, beyond the facility amount you can get, and then for the different purposes that we have talked about, and of course, some of these facilities also come with different tenors. For your working capital facilities, we look at an average of, depending on your turnover, your asset conversion cycle, 7 days, 30 days, 180 days for your working capital for the short-term overdraft facilities. You want to acquire an asset that will take you a longer period for you to pay down. You might be looking at the term loan that will structure for a 24 months period. For your asset finance, for your acquisition of assets, we can be looking at a 36 months tenure for some of these facilities that you can access. Now, beyond these product offerings to pharmaceuticals and then the pharmacy, to the pharmacies, there are some other benefits that our customers stand to enjoy. When Mr. J was talking about telepharmacy, from consultation, the next thing that will probably apply will be the prescription. We have what we call the Polaris Mall, and this is our e-commerce platform that allows you for online drug ordering. You want to buy drugs online, you've been attended to online, telemedicine, you've taken your prescription online, and then you're still at home, you still want to order for your drugs. We have a portal for you known as the Polaris Mall. Now, the beauty of this is it affords you an opportunity to sell to the whole world, away from your one location, your one branch location, or your 2 outlets. With you coming or signing on board to our e-commerce platform, you have access to your customers across the globe, and of course, pan-Nigeria. Again, some other benefit that we offer is the NQR payment solution. This is a secure payment, QR coded payment system. And of course, it enhances your collections. And of course, you receive more, and you can also make more payments for your goods and services via this solution. Your tax remittances solution, you can easily pay all your taxes through any of our locations, through any of our agent bankers, and makes life easy for you. You don't have to travel so far, and then we are there to provide this service to you. Financial advisory services, we are here as your preferred partners to offer for free your tax consultations, your human resource, your financial needs, your investment needs. We are here to provide financial advisory services to our customers. Again, vote for business. I mentioned this, it is also part of our own contribution to technology in advancing your businesses. Again, 2 major things came up: funding and then the use of technology. We've talked about the use of Polaris Mall to enhance your market and then to enhance your feasibility across your market. And of course, the use of the Vault for Business. This is our digital banking app that makes life so easy for all our customers, our businessmen. You are able to do all your transactions, ease of transfer, bills payments, account inquiries. You want access to quick loans. You don't need to fill so much of, you don't need to fill papers. Go to this app, do your application, and of course, this app is going to tell you how much you are eligible to collect, essentially based on your transaction volume. Of course, business registration. We make life easy for upcoming businesses. You are into this industry, you are running in your personal name, you want to come on board and then you register your business. We are willing to provide this business name registration in collaboration with the Corporate Affairs Commission at a very minimal or very discounted rate to make life easy for our customers. Majorly, these are our product offerings. And like I said, we are very next to you. We are in over 250 locations across the country. We have over 15,000 agents that you can do your transactions through. So we are present on every street in Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was really good. We're just going to take some very, very quick questions because there are a few questions. Some have asked about the interest rates. And there's actually an interesting question here. It says, any special loan rate to support women in business like some other banks have? Do you have this now, or are you planning to do something like this in the future?
Okay. We have we are a gender sensitive bank, and of course we have a special place for our women in business, and so there's always concession for our women in business, and we'll be glad to have the women in business on board. In terms of our interest rates, again, we're your preferred partners. We've done this over and over again. Like we said, this is the second edition of this. It shows our commitment to this industry. There's some form of concession. We can go as low as 1.75% flat on a monthly basis, or we look at the between 21 and 24% per annum for your working overdraft facilities. But again, talking to this body, we want to encourage you to come collectively as a body. When we have you en masse, we'll be able to also look at areas where we can give further concession. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And with that, I can say that we have come to the end of the webinar. I just want to thank everybody again for spending a little bit above 2 hours with us. It's been a really great time, insightful time. We've learned a lot. I want to say a big thank you as well to all our facilitators, all the experts that we've had, and even to the audience for being an amazing audience, giving us some really beautiful comments and very, very thoughtful and intelligent questions as well. Before I hand over to Adebimpe, who is going to give us the vote of thanks and close this out, I just want to give a recap on what we have done today. We have learned quite a lot. We have learned quite a lot in terms of, understanding the outlook, the farmer outlook, and the outlook from global to national to local, and we've learned about the value chain. We've learned about, some of the amazing things that can be done with technology. And we've also learned a lot about Medsaf, which has given, a practical example as to how you can access credit quicker, faster, leveraging on technology as well. We've also learned about what to do with our businesses right now, some valid questions that we need to ask ourselves and what we need to take back and sort of like think through. Also, we have a lot of feedback for Polaris Bank as well in terms of, first of all, I want to thank them because obviously they've given us a lot of support and so far, and we encourage them to continue to give us support. I believe that they've gotten a lot of feedback, and that feedback has helped. Mommy. Oh, my daughter is saying hello to everybody. Okay, all right then. So thank you very much for joining our webinar. Over to you, Adebimpe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Itunu, for moderating this session. We are really grateful, and we're not taking this for granted. I also like to say thank you to everyone, especially the panelists, our customers, and the CEO who has been with us for the past 2 hours throughout this webinar. So thank you, the National Chairman for NAIP, Pharmacist Onegu. Thank you, Chairman for the Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, from Adewale. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Mr. Okpanubi, for that very interesting presentation. And thank you, Dr. Itunu, for moderating. As mentioned by my colleague, Dr. Abimbola, okay, we're not just doing this for just running a webinar. Sorry, I didn't say thank you to Jay Chikeze. Thank you very much. Of course, we're going to take this forward and to see how we can deliver our services and products to stakeholders within this industry, leveraging technology. This, as a bank, we have invested so much, and we're ready to fulfill our obligation to players within the sector. We are committed to supporting this sector, and we will continue to do so. The webinar is a reflection of our belief in the health sector. In terms of capacity building, we're willing to do this. We've been doing this. Like we said, this is the second webinar. In terms of loan funding, across the tier, the manufacturers, corporates, commercials, and the retailers, we as Polaris Bank, we're committed to make this available so that as a body, we actually scale to the next level. We're also open to partnership. It's the new name for business today. So we're open to partnership. We're already in partnership with a number of names in this industry, and we're also open to bring in more, such that at the end of the day and together, we deliver the value, the expected value to stakeholders within this sector. Thank you very much. And we look forward to receiving you next time. And I do hope you will answer us when we call you, because this is a continuous journey, and we're willing to continue to do this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our dear customers. Thank you, participants. And we really appreciate you. We wish you a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Me. Bye.